Roxy, you're going to get me in so much trouble. You're going to clip this answer, right? And you're going to put it on social media, and people think I'm bashing Pilates, okay?
What is the biggest misconception that you would love to debunk?
There's a difference between exercise and moving. I think that people have to move more. People look at working out as this huge mountain. What they don't understand is, like, when I go on a hike, I don't look at the top. I look the next step, one step at a time.
Looking for, aesthetics. They're also looking for longevity and strength and wellness and balance.
That's me, baby. I see a big transition from fitness to wellness right now. A lot of people do the Lagree workout, not just for the physical benefit, but for the mental benefit. All the life skills that it takes to build a successful business are the same to build a successful body, if you want to call it that way, right?
Everyone's saying lift heavy, especially women in midlife.
Do not use heavy dumbbells. I think that for women at home who wants to get in great shapes, they don't need to have anything past 10 pounds. You can say the word change. I prefer the word evolution. The machines, they are clearly evolving. They're not devolving.
Today on the Iconic Midlife, I'm joined by a true innovator in the fitness world, Sebastien Lagree, creator of the Lagree Method. His Megaformer and EVO machines have revolutionized strength training, and his method is practiced in hundreds of studios across the globe. We're going to dive into how he built one of the most recognized names in fitness, why Lagree works, especially well for women in midlife, and what he sees as the future of movement, strength, and reinvention. Get ready for a conversation that might just change the way you think about working out. Welcome to the Iconic Midlife, Sebastien.
Thank you, Roxy.
We're so excited to have you here. We were just talking. I came to the class that you were teaching, your amazing class on Sunday. And today is Friday, and I am still sore in the best way.
Oh my God. You are welcome. I love this. Yeah, it was a hard class. There was, because when I teach on Sunday, I love to experiment on new variations. And, because in my mind, I'm working on new machines. I knew the new tools that are coming out. It's frustrating because not all the studios, the studio you went to didn't have the latest machine. So it's hard for me to sometimes teach on the machines that are not up to date. Because when I teach a class, I'm not just teaching the class. In my mind, I'm simulating the new changes about to come. So sometimes I teach weird sequences or exercise, and people may be like, but in my mind, it makes sense because I'm like, okay, if you had that apparatus and we would be doing this sequence, I want to see what the changes are. So, I'm glad you were 5 days sore. Great. Fantastic.
It was great.
You should come this Sunday. You'll be like 7 days sore.
Yes. I'll take it. I've got to get this body going again. I love your workout. I actually started doing it before the pandemic. So kind of in that time, the years before, and was going to the West Hollywood studio. And just every time I would leave, it was like the endorphins were flowing and, being sore in a great way. You feel like you're getting a great workout, but you're also thinking during this workout, which I really love. There is a total mind-body connection. You can't do it if you're not concentrating because you'll fall off the machine if you don't.
That's exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. You need to be present into your body in the workout. And so I think because you're present for that brief hour, you're not thinking about what you just did or what you need to do. You're just present, and it just it has a huge therapeutic effect.
Yes, very therapeutic. So let's go back to the beginning because I'm so interested in your whole metamorphosis of your career because as I understand it, you actually started out doing bodybuilding. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my background is bodybuilding, and I started to lift weight when I was 13, and I got really into it. Started to do that when I was in France, and then I moved to the US when I was 17, and in France in the 80s, there's not much about bodybuilding and fitness. It's a couple clubs, that's it. But when I moved to the US, I didn't realize that it was a huge phenomenon in the US. So there was publications and there's so much information and the supplements. Oh my God, you couldn't get those supplements back in the 80s, in France. So it kind of my I wouldn't say I have a career in bodybuilding because I never competed. But my involvement with bodybuilding just just skyrocketed because I had all these gyms. There were gyms everywhere. People were into fitness. So it was I tremendously enjoyed that time and learned a lot about exercise.
Yeah, where you could did you come here and do the whole like Venice Muscle Beach?
Oh no! So what happened? I moved to Oregon. My mom is American, my dad is French. When they split up, my mom decided to come back here in the U.S. Her family had moved to Oregon. She's originally from San Francisco and Washington, and so I moved with her, finished high school, loved being here in the U.S. And then I moved to I went to Portland State University, and then there started to really get into as I was studying, I got into really bodybuilding, and that's really things kind of started. And then I did that for a few years, and then I met this photographer Julian, and then him and I started to shoot a lot, and I that's where I got really interested into the whole like acting and modeling, because I was doing all these like really I would say a fantasy type of shoot that was like had a long blonde hair going down to middle of my back. I was like another version of Fabio, essentially. Big muscle. So we used to do a lot of photography, and I absolutely enjoy the whole creativity aspect of setting up a photo shoot. Julian um, was a lot to art and crafts. So that logo that I have, the bow and arrow, that's a photo that we took when I was 21. And I just love being with him and being around this creativity. And we shot everywhere in Portland, Oregon. He would take me to all these sites, and it was always like fantasy stuff. And so I went to Seattle, finished my studies over there. I got my graduate, I got my master's in business. But it was always, working with Julian, it was always a dream of mine to come to LA and then pursue a career in acting. So when I came here, it's I was gonna continue my bodybuilding, but really I came here for the acting, and of course nothing worked out that way.
Right.
Life had other plans for me, so.
Right. I know you kind of have to do it though. You have to kind of follow it if you get the bug.
Absolutely. There you have to follow, and then sometimes the universe has other plans for you. So the universe had other plans for me, and I'm very happy that of everything how it worked out now, because I'm having a blast. So.
What was the thing about it that you were trying to solve? What was like the problem that you were seeing that you said, I need to make a solution? Yeah.
Oh boy, Roxy, you're going to get me in so much trouble, because every single time I'm going to podcast, people ask me the exact same question. So I answer the question, and then you're going to clip it. You're going to clip this answer, right? And you're going to put it on social media, and people think I'm bashing Pilates. Okay, every single time. First of all, okay, to all the people, okay, I love Pilates. Okay, I think Pilates is a wonderful method. Okay, however, Pilates is not going to give you the body that you want, because Pilates does not have the intensity. It doesn't have the exercises. It's not the reason why Joseph created Pilates. Joseph created Pilates after the First World War. He was a nurse. He recognized the healing property of movement. Okay, so that is how Pilates started. And then when he opened a studio in New York City, his New York City studio was not doing well, but there was one client that came in who gave him all the business, and that was Martha Graham, because Martha Graham recognized the healing properties. She recognized the benefit of his equipment for her dancer. So Pilates became almost this like unofficial, recovery or rehab for dancers, and that's how it was done for many decades. Matter of fact, when you study Pilates today, there's a lot of ballet terminology. Plie first position, second position, releve, pointe, all that stuff, right? When you study fitness and bodybuilding, you're not going to study plie first position, second position. You're studying time and retention, muscle fatigue. You're talking about isometric, isokinetic, blah, 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 right? It has nothing to do with this. So to the Pilates industry, I'm sorry, but that is how the method started. So I come to LA, I'm come here and my big fucking muscles everywhere, and I started to, I realized that okay, I got to make a living. So I decided to become a personal trainer because everybody would ask me, "Hey, you look great. Can you train me? Can you work me out?" So I started to do that, and that led me to teaching Pilates. And so when I started to teach Pilates, I was basically coached by a bodybuilder, ex Martha Graham dancer. Okay, so he knew the in and out of Pilates, and he taught me Pilates as a method, not as an exercise science. Okay, and he told me, okay, this is Pilates, this is not Pilates, and I got it because Pilates was very different at the time. But the exercise, the exercise that we did on the machines were simply not transformative exercise. They're great exercise. You feel good. So in Pilates, the method that I learned, or the Pilates method, it's a good method if you're already in shape. But if you want to get in shape and you do Pilates, you're not going to get in shape. It's just not going to happen. Today is very different because I've single-handedly changed the Pilates game. Today you have athletic Pilates, whatever the fuck it means, right? You have high intensity Pilates, progressive Pilates, modern Pilates, Pilates 2.0. Every other companies out there is trying to just basically try to intensify the method because when I came in, that's what I did. So these women are coming to me, these owners give me all these clients, and those clients are doing Pilates because that's what they hire me to do. And after a few sessions, they're like, were they going to the gym after the class? And I asked them, I say, why are you going to the gym? Why, are you not happy with the workout? Because, me, I'm depending on the money. So I want to make sure that you're happy with the workout. You are hiring me to teach Pilates, but you want these other results. I know from a scientific point of view that the results that you want cannot be achieved with this exercise program. That is not possible. Okay. So I went to Ivan and I say, the owner, I say, hey, dude, we're going to lose these clients because, these women these women, they think they're going to get this body by doing this method, but it's not. And Ivan's like, well, do whatever you need to do. I make them happy, make them have results. Like, all right. So what I did is what I only knew because I'm a bodybuilder. To a bodybuilder, everything is a dumbbell. So for me, the reformer became a dumbbell. The Cadillac, all the Pilates equipment became a dumbbell. And I use basically bodybuilding exercises and training techniques and apply them to the Pilates apparatus. And what happened? Boom. Within, within 4 or 6 weeks, man, I was like training 60 to 80 hours a week. It just took off.
Wow.
Started to get on TV, all that stuff. People, what is this method? This is amazing. And I'm thinking, are you fucking kidding me? This is circuit training. I'm doing circuit training. I did not take the method that I created. So the method that you do today is completely different from the method that I taught. Okay, it's very important that people know that the Lagree method is already at its 10th iteration. You cannot teach the workout today that I'm teaching on the Megaformer, the workout that you did last Sunday. It's impossible to teach that on the Reformer. It's impossible. You will not be able to teach this method, to teach the exercise, to teach the sequence on the Reformer. It's impossible. It's like comparing two cars. One is an EV and one is a gas car. I'm sorry, they both go to A to B, but it's going to be different system, different processes, different. That's how it is. So so the first method that I basically did was so Lagree has always been a circuit training, but the tools have evolved over time. So in 1998, when I taught the Lagree method, which I didn't call Lagree method, I called it Pilates Plus because I had no intention of doing this for a living. I came here for acting. I came here to be Arnold or what The Rock does. I want to get paid $20 million a movie to throw people up on screen. That's what I wanted to do. Right? It's just that's it. Very simple plan. Okay, didn't come here to overtake the fitness industry. And so I whipped up this program because it's just like, if you know fitness, it's easy. If you want to lose weight, the best way to lose weight, the proven way to lose fat during exercise is circuit training. You want to do a combination of resistance training and cardio. You're going to burn more fat during and after the workout. Weight training does not really burn fat during the workout. It'll burn some fat after the workout. Mostly as you build muscle, the muscles will burn fat. Okay. Cardio burns fat during the workout, a little bit mix of sugar and fat, but really nothing after. The best combination is cardio and resistance training. Now, I would say to you, to your audience, that the number two and the number three way of losing weight is always a permanent change in diet. But if you're too lazy to change your diet, okay, and you want to lose weight during exercise, you have to combine weight training and resistance. That is the best way to burn both subcutaneous fat, intramuscular fat. That's the best way to do it. Okay. So that's what I did. I used a reformer, I used a Cadillac, I did my lunges, I did my squats, I did like the major group muscles to activate the metabolism, and I recreated the exercise that you would do at the gym. I recreated in the Pilates environment. And when I was doing this, other Pilates trainer would look at me like the black sheep. Matter of fact, I got banned. I got banned from all. The reason that I had to open my own Pilates studio is because I got banned to all the Pilates studios in LA. And that's why today when people say, "Oh, it's Pilates," fuck you. Okay, that is not true. You should have heard the message on my voicemail from other Pilates studio. So pissed off.
Really?
Pissed off at me. It's like Joseph Pilates would turn over 6 times more in his grave or whatever. And I'm just like, what I didn't come up with it. This is what the clientele wanted. I'm only doing what people wanted, and what people expected. So anyway, that's how the method, originally started. If I took you to that training today, you would not like it. It has nothing to do with Lagree. So the reality is, no one has ever done the original method except for my first few clients. It's actually a few famous actresses now that I trained originally. These will be the one we can talk about this method that I taught in 1998. But the method evolved after that because I got kicked out of that studio. So the studio got bought out by someone else. The new owner didn't like what I was doing because I wasn't teaching Pilates. So he thought I was going to injure people. So he's like, "Okay, you can't teach this anymore." And I couldn't. And also, by the time that I got kicked out of that Pilates studio, I could not teach other Pilates studios because the word had gotten out. The host, this French guy, Sebastien, he has people sweating on the reformer. What? Yeah, people are standing up. They're doing lunges. Like, oh my God, it's so dangerous. Oh my God. Now everybody in LA is doing my workout. Okay, so thank you very much. It's the way it is. The hypocrisy. Of that community. I swear. Today's like, well, everything you do is Pilates. I was doing that. Okay, all right. Well, this is why I got forbidden to teach at a Pilates studio, and that's why I had to open my studio. And because I didn't have the money, I opened into an apartment. So I rented the biggest apartment. I rented the apartment in Beverly Hills with the biggest living room because it was the idea to put 4 Legos. So got 4 Legos from Balanced Body. I opened on Clark Drive, right behind the Ivy in LA. If people are familiar with the Ivy, I was on Clark Drive. The building is no longer there. It's got demolished and rebuilding. And I started to teach my classes with 4 people. I opened on September 11th, so 9/11 was my opening date. That's why I never celebrate, the birth of Lagree, because
Right.
9/11, that is that famous Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's when I opened officially the first studio. And, what a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stayed for about a year and a half at that location and got kicked out again. Kicked out again because there was this actress that was living above me, probably not a working actress, I'm sure. And she was so upset that 4 women were coming to my apartment every hour. And then the landlord, called me one day. It's like, "Hey, Sebastien, what's going on at your place? You got 4 women coming every hour." I'm like, "Oh, it's not what you think. I got 4 machines over here. I told you what I was doing." And he's like, "Well, you can't run a business out of your apartment, so I'm gonna give you a 6 months notice." So then I moved into this commercial space on Melrose. I moved and placed on Melrose, right? And now I have a bigger challenge because I'm not paying an apartment. I'm paying actually a commercial lease, and I have 4 beds. So for me, that was it. When I moved into that apartment in Beverly Hills with 4 beds, that was it. I was going to teach my classes and go on my auditions. This is all I wanted to do. There was no plan whatsoever for me to make a living out of this. I'm like, okay, now I'm established, I'm situated, I got my business, now I can go on my auditions, no problem. But the business kept growing and kept growing. And in that tiny little apartment in Beverly Hills, I mean, I used to have big name celebrities coming in their limousine and all that stuff. It was so weird because it was like literally my little apartment and then get all these like big names. So anyway, so now I'm opening this commercial space. I got these 4 machines, huge space. I could put more machines, but I had decided that I'm only going to teach to 4 people. 4 people is what I can safely, effectively, efficiently teach to.
Hmm.
And of course, the rent is more. I'm about to have a kid, right? And I'm realizing, well, if I add one more machines, this would add so much more money, every month, and that would actually ease a lot of the financial concern that I have, right?
Parental stress. Yeah, right.
So I add one more machine, so now I have 5, and then the class are always full, and I always have one more person showing up to class trying to get in, as if the universe is telling me, you're not going to be at 5. You think you are, but not. One more person. So I went to 5, to 6, to 7, to 8, to 9. At 10, the reformer became so dangerous. I've had all the people that fell in my classes. I had one person that went to a hospital because she dislocated her shoulder. All of that nasty part in my life was in the reformer days. So in 2003, I decided, you know what? If that is what I'm looking at, if I'm going to be doing this full time and maybe not doing the acting, I have to develop another machine. So decided to make the Proformer. So Lagree went through different iteration, right? Iteration. The first one was like when I was teaching one-on-one on the Pilates equipment. The second iteration was when I had to I didn't have all this equipment, so I changed. I decided to use the reformer. So I had a method for reformer. When I went to 10 reformers, I couldn't teach the same method anymore because the machine was inadequate. The machine was not built for the workout that I was teaching. So I had to modify the method a third time with the 10 people. When the Proformer came in, I modified the method a fourth time because now the Proformer was able to do exercise you could never do on the reformer. So I was the first person ever in an entire planet to start to experiment with all the exercise done on the back of the machine, because I was the first person to ever add a platform on the front of the machine of a reformer and the back of the reformer. And that completely transformed the repertoire of exercise and the type of exercise you could do and so on. So I started to learn about this stuff. So Lagree 4.0 would have started with the basically the beginning of the Proformer. And the Proformer, when the Proformer came out, it became an instant success. It's like I didn't know that there was essentially this itch in the Pilates industry that a lot of people and everyone that came to the studio were all Pilates goer, right? They were all Pilates clients. Today, half of my clientele, all Pilates studios converting to Lagree, or they decide, you know what, I want to add Lagree to Pilates. So I have a huge umbilical cord. I have a huge connection to the Pilates community, right? So all these people, these Pilates people, oh my God, I love this workout. What do you call this? What do you call this? I'm like, well, call it Pilates Plus, but I'm thinking maybe I should start to change the name because by the time we get on the Proformer, well, we're doing, a lot less Pilates exercises. So everything is changing. So the Proformer started to really signify, okay, this is now a different method. On the Proformer, it was already very different from what I taught on the Reformer and definitely in the one-on-one studio. So right now we're at Lagree 2.0 because we have a game changer. I mean, I've had a lot of game changer, but this is the game changer coming in the Lagree community, and that's the remote control spring change. So we have right now, I already have 2 studios in existence, and they have the remote control spring change. Unfortunately, I had to pull out those machines. I had to stop production on that machine because the electronics were not perfected. So now I have a new R&D house, and we're going to relaunch the technology. This is a game changer because now with this, you can add new training techniques that it's impossible to do unless you have this. So when you talk about a muscle activation, when you talk about time under tension, this is it. You will not be able to do this. This is incredible. And then, of course, I'm not stopping at that. We're going to continue evolution. I already know what's coming after this one, and that one. I'm already 20 years ahead with everything. So
Yeah, you seem to be constantly changing.
well, you're not changing. Change is what copycats will tell the licensee. Oh, Sebastien is always changing his machine. You don't want to buy his machines because next year's going to have the new machines. Yeah, you can say the word change. I prefer the word evolution because if you look at the machines, they are clearly evolving. They're not devolving. Okay, so for me, the technology is so important because this method I created back in 1998 will become the number one method worldwide by 2030. Absolutely. It's already number one method in some places. This is number one. We have like 65 fucking copycats. We got countless of counter phase that I'm dealing with, So the evolution is absolutely necessary. But as much as people love the workout today, and then as much as you love the workout, the method is only at 40% development. We're not 100%. The method that you're doing right now is only at 40%.
So you're going to continue to evolve it.
I'm going to evolve it until I reach the 100%, right? And then once I'm at the 100%, I'm going to I'm going to try to continue to evolve the method, but at that point, it's 100%, it's completed. So, I'm going to continue just maintaining that. And then I'm going to start, I planted a new seed already. I'm going to grow a new Lagree tree. And I'm going to do a whole new workout that is for mental and spiritual strength. So it's going to be a workout more for wellness, less for fitness. This is going to be a transition to the wellness, and this is for people. This is to help with your mood, or for your emotions. This is going to be, because I see a big transition from fitness to wellness right now, and I think that a lot of people work out. A lot of people do the Lagree workout not just for the physical benefit, but for the mental benefits. And I want to start to evolve a method. I want to create a new method specifically designed for mental benefit. I think that exercise could be prescribed for someone who has depression, or someone who has anxiety, or someone who's just feeling down on the luck, and you want to feel a little boost. Exercise can absolutely be used to make you happier, to make you smarter, to have more confidence in yourself. Definitely, we know that exercise builds confidence. But what if I studied exactly what type of exercise, what type of training techniques are actually the best one to bring about more confidence? I've already done some studies, and we've looked at the brain activity during Lagree, and it's pretty cool what we've already found out. I'm not going to share too much with this, because this will be part of my trade secrets. But yeah, there's some machines that I use. For example, the Supra, where the Supra is a machine that tilts on its own axle.
That's one I did before. Yes, I did that one.
Yeah. So that machine right here, when you put people on the tilt, one of the byproducts of the workout is happiness.
Really?
All the participants felt happy with the workout. Yes. So I want to understand what was about that machine, about that method, about this specific sequence of exercise, what made basically that euphoric feeling, because that, if I can bottle this, that'd be great.
That's the key.
So that's the key, because so many, miserable people out there, people are just like, they feel stuck, they're whatever. So what if exercise could help them to get off that fog, to start to think, to see above the clouds, And so exercise is definitely a powerful tool for mental benefits, mental, emotional, psychological.
That is so important for the Iconic Midlife audience, because it's comprised of women, 40s and 50s. And yes, they're looking for, aesthetics, but they're also looking for longevity and strength and wellness and balance. I mean, the issues that come up.
That's me, baby. Yeah, absolutely. That's why the method evolves, because it changes. Because the more I talk to people, and I try to incorporate other training techniques to bring about other results. I'm probably the only person out there selling a fitness method that is engineered. It's not like I was a yogi and I started to veer off yoga, and I started to develop my own style of yoga, and I'm doing yoga myself, and I'm teaching those classes. I don't do my workouts. I study my workouts. I try to understand fitness. I knew elements based on what I witnessed. It's a whole scientific method to this whole process. And so I'm very much, basically engineering and continue to engineer this method. So it's a very different approach. I'm not like Billy Blank, who was like, this martial artist, and then, basically developed this whole workout. If you look at every fitness guru out there, they always have the method and they do the workout with them. This is totally different. I'm listening to you. What do you want, Roxy? Just like I listened in 1998. What do you want? Well, I have all these actresses coming to me, and they look fucking perfect. They're all beautiful. And I'm like, what possibly can I bring to you? You're perfect. You're on TV. You look perfect. What do you want? I want my ass to be higher. I want my waist to be inner. And I'm just like, when you work with perfection, then you have to become really very precise. So this workout that you love is because of these women that came to me. As I asked them, I say, what kind of results do you want to see? And I will focus on that. And that's what I did, So today, people want this, but now people want more of the mental benefits. A lot of people tell me, most of the emails, most of the messages that I get on Instagram are like, how I've changed people's life. It's not how I've changed people's body. It's how people love their life. They feel more comfortable in their body. They feel more confident. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. So today, what I want to do with the method, I want to level people up. I want to help humanity level up on the physical, mental, and spiritual level because more than ever, man, we need faith. We need faith in ourselves.
Yeah, I think that the appeal of the workout too, because it crosses celebrities and different cultures, is that you sort of been able to encapsulate all of those things, in one package. It's not just you go in, you lift some weights and you walk out. You kind of come out feeling more complete, I would say. Like it's like more than just a physical effect, it's mental, it's emotional. Why do you think it resonates like that?
Because I studied that way. I've a long time ago I realized. So I did a documentary on the future of fitness back in 2013, and what I realized because 2013, you have the wearables. We know AI is coming. We also knew that gene therapy is a new thing. But I'm a huge nerd. I love science. I love biology. I mean, I just love all that stuff. And so 2013, I'm like, well, gene therapy is coming. How is that going to affect fitness? I mean, I'm looking at gene therapy right now. I'm interested in doing it. I have a couple of clinics that I'm talking to right now, and I'm going to do gene therapy so that I can build muscle quicker and build fat faster. So yeah, I'm totally into biohacking. So how is biohacking going to affect fitness? I'm in fitness. I depend on clients, like you, for example, who want to change to come to me. But what if in the future you do not have to work out? You can go to your doctor, get a shot, and then over the course of the next week or two, you start to lose weight, you start to gain muscle because it's your genetic responding to this therapy. So now, without the need to work out, you look like a Greek goddess.
Mhm.
What in that scenario, how many people are still going to work out? What's going to happen to fitness? And that did this documentary in 2013. And what I realized is this. I realized that actually in the future, more people are going to work out, but they're not going to work out for the same benefit. People are not going to work out for the physical benefit of fitness, so having bigger muscles or being tight. There is still going to be, of course, a percentage of the population working for those benefits, but the majority of people are going to work out for the mental, intellectual, psychological, emotional, social, and spiritual benefit because you can exercise yourself to have a religious experience. I felt that many times. This is why I'm doing this for a living. I'm completely into the emotional spiritual benefit of fitness. And so when I made that realization right away, I started to study about on the supra, because at the same time we had I was doing all my study on the supra, and the supra showed that a lot of the benefits were actually mental on the supra. They were not just physiological, they were mental. So that gave me the idea of start to work on basically a program. Okay, how can I address the mental aspect of the workout without making drastic change to the machine? So I started again alter the method. Today, when you do the exercise, you do them for longer, slower. There's a whole reason for that. It's not just for muscular endurance. It's also for the mental benefit. You're more focused, you're more present into the workout. Some of the exercise that we did on Sunday, you absolutely need to be present. If you're not present, you're falling off the machine.
Right.
So being present is an amazing it's an amazing benefit to just be present because when you're present, all this when you're truly in the moment, you're not thinking about the past, you're not depressed, you're not thinking about the future, you have no anxiety, and for that brief moment that you're on the megaformer, you feel at peace and you have that reset button, and that is absolutely powerful. I'm of course going to study and I'm going to learn a lot more about this relationship between movement and mental health. And I'm going to continue developing the method in that direction. But that's why you feel this way is because I made the changes a long time ago to start to bring about this benefit. And I'm seeing those benefits. I'm reading those benefits. I'm going to continue evolving the method in that way.
How has midlife been for you?
Roxy, I fucking love my life. I'm 52 and I love my life more today than I did when I was 24. I would never go back to 24. I got same energy. I do not feel depressed ever. I don't feel any anxiety. Um, what exercise, but also what the success of the business has done to me. But the success of the business is directly linked to my career in bodybuilding. Because if you met me when I was 13 years old, I mean, I was shy. I wouldn't even want to go out. My mom would go, to the shops and then buy me clothes and stuff like that. I'm an introvert at heart. I'm 100% introvert. Do not like to be in public. I like to be by myself.
Mhm.
Or I like to be in the jungle. Or I like to be in the mountains. I like to be in the water, in the desert. I like to be just by myself, and I love animals. Okay, I'm very comfortable being by myself. Okay, so to be in front of the people, to do public speaking, to teach in front of the people, to have this, mass, all these studios everywhere. We have about we have almost 1,200 locations now, worldwide. Um, and I'm constantly doing podcasts and then just, big events and all that stuff. Bodybuilding really allowed me to give me a sense of confidence and a purpose and then everything else. Bodybuilding really taught me about, discipline and commitment and following through and believing in yourself and writing a plan and following the plan and blah, 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 all that
Mhm.
stuff. All the life skills that it takes to build a successful business are the same to build a successful body, if you want to call it that way, right? So all of this has essentially translated into building a successful business, and now I'm at a place of peace. I don't get triggered at all. I don't feel these negative emotions. I'm in a place where I want to grow spiritually. So I'm very interested into spirituality. And I'm trying to grow spiritually. There's a lot of things that I want to do. That I really want to take this method and then potentially go even also into other segments, in the wellness industry. Um, but I feel I'm really in an amazing place right now, and that's what I kind of want to do. I want to help other people get to that place as well, because then you don't stress about this, you don't stress about that. You can see through the lines when people move forward or say this or whatever. You don't react because you have such this amazing sense of self that you have this ultimate confidence, and you move at your own time and your own pace. You don't feel rushed because these two people have done this or that one person is saying that about you, whatever. It doesn't have any effect, and it allows you to have a purposeful life, a peaceful and purposeful life, and it just it's amazing, that I'm there. So I want to, I feel I'm going to be here also forever. This is this sense that I'm going to be here for a long time, and I love every moment of my life right now. I would say there's not, there's all of it is an absolute bliss for me.
That's great. So, what if you ever do deal with obstacles, hardships, things like that? What do you say to yourself, or what do you do to bring yourself out of, those tough times?
Yeah. Well, first of all, everything is temporary, right? So, and then nothing exists unless you put attention to it. So when you have bad situation, you have to, what you have to understand that all the situation are temporary, and then can you change your perspective? Can you gain some perspective? Can you try to understand why you got in that situation? Because you have some responsibility to bear. And so once you're able to to pivot to perspective, you realize that all the problem goes away and the solution. I think the number one problem with people today, when something bad happens, all they think about is that they cannot just stop thinking about the bad shit and start to think about, okay, how am I getting out of this? People are problem oriented. I'm solution oriented. When people come to a problem, okay, I got the problem. Let's talk about the solution. And they want to keep talking about the problem and talking about the problem. But this has happened. I fucking know. I got it. I understood the first sentence you told me. What was wrong? Let's shift the fucking narrative. And now that we know the problem, instead of keep talking about the problem for another fucking hour, it's a waste of my time and your fucking time, let's talk about the solution. If you want to talk about the solution, I'm here. If you want to talk about the problem, I'm not here to commiserate. Commiserate, lower my frequency. Okay? If all you want to do is to bitch and to commiserate, you know what? I am not the person for you. You need to talk to someone else. I'm here to elevate my frequency. I'm here to help you. I'm here to solve issues. I'm here to move forward, but I'm not here to talk about what's wrong. That is not me. So I never gossip. I never talk about what's wrong. I only focus on the possibilities that we can do on the positive things. There's no, for me, people always think about the negative shit. I'm like, wow, what a miserable fucking life to live. I'm like, people can only talk about the bad shit all the time. Like, wow, I do not want to be in your body. Honestly, it's just like, it feels already just hearing you. I feel my energy went like this.
And that kind of energy manifests. It makes you sick.
It makes you sick, you know. So for me, again, this is why I'm moving to Utah in November. I'm so happy. I got a
Wow.
beautiful house in Salt Lake City, just outside the city. And then there, I'm going to continue my spiritual journey. I wanted to be in the mountain, and then love Salt Lake City because I just love how it's just in that bowl of the mountains over here. I feel it's something very um, very good, very spiritual, very amazing about this. You know, I'm really excited about moving to Utah, and I'm gonna have like a whole so I'm in the house. I'm gonna have like all kinds of therapies. You know, so I'm gonna be experimenting on mixing different therapies and things like that because eventually I'm gonna open a retreat. Either in Utah or in Colorado or in Wyoming. I want to buy a ranch and I want to buy an ultimate. I want to create the ultimate retreat for the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I want to have all the therapies and all the treatments and everything that works, to bring the mind and the body and spirit together, and for people to be truly connected. Because I see a lot of disconnected people out there. I mean, most of us are not really truly integrated. Physically, mentally, and spiritually. So for me, it's very important. It's the next part. That's the next step for me in my own personal growth.
How do you teach that to somebody? Because you said that discipline is more important than motivation, especially when it comes to health and wellness. How do you teach somebody discipline though?
It People have to show up. What you cannot teach discipline. You can help someone to create discipline for themselves, right? So all that you can do, you cannot give those skills to someone, but you can put someone in a situation to cultivate those skills. So the discipline in Lagree, for example, if you want to take my classes, you have to be disciplined about Lagree. You cannot just, never do Lagree, come to my class and it's just like, oh my God, this is an amazing workout. You're gonna fucking hate it because you won't be able to do any of the stuff. You're not gonna have the endurance. You're not gonna have the motor skills. You're not gonna have the balance. You're not gonna have the proprioception to do anything. You're gonna fucking suck. Okay, so you need discipline, and that's something that I cannot tell you to do. Is if you're motivated to take Lagree, then you have to discipline yourself to go to a Lagree class and then just practice. And confidence. You cannot give someone confidence, but through exercise you will gain more confidence, and especially with progressive overloading, because exercise itself is good, but what gives you the confidence is the fact that from week to week, month to month, you see yourself getting stronger, you see yourself getting fitter, you see it on the scales, you see it on the mirror, you feel it at the gym, you lift more weights, you get tired less. That brings that confidence, right? So that's what you need to do. You need to get those people to start. I always tell people the hardest thing to do is to show up to class. That is the hardest thing to do. The minute you showed up, that's half the battle. Half the battle is just decided to go to the gym. And then by the way, when I talk about the mental, spiritual benefit, it happens in Lagree, it happens in any fitness class, right? So it's not just Lagree. I happen to just want to focus more on those elements, and I'm trying to understand more, so I want to focus more on that stuff. But I've also got confidence from weightlifting. You can go to Barry's boot camp, you go to CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. You can see yourself getting stronger. That brings about the confidence. But you cannot give someone confidence. All you can do is you can put them in a situation where they will get more confident. They have to go through that for themselves. For those people out there who just want to buy a bottle, it's just like, can I buy confidence? This is the wrong thing. By the way, in that scenario, when you go to you do gene therapy, right, and you are going to get that muscle, and you're not going to get the confidence though. That's what people don't understand.
Hmm.
The confidence is not going to come when something is giving you for free, and you haven't worked for it. You're not going to get the confidence. You're going to have that body, but you're not going to have the confidence. And I think that in the future, more people are going to want to work out because they understand that confidence is key. That confidence, you take it everywhere. The confidence, you're going to have a better job, a better relationship, a better life, because you want better for yourself, because you're confident that you deserve better, right? And the minute you believe you deserve better, then you're getting better because you start to vibrate at a higher level. That you will never get this from going under the knife, okay, or taking Ozempic, or taking or getting your liposuction. This you're getting the results, but you're not getting this mental benefit. Those mental benefit, you have to work for them. That is the best part about it. You work for them, and then after that, you get to enjoy them in every other areas of your life. This is what's best part about it, because the body, the brain doesn't make a difference between you working out at the gym, you're on your computer, you're sitting down over here, you're walking to take a piss. It's all just like it's all connected.
What do you think? Because there's so many misconceptions about fitness and, working out, especially as it applies to women. So, what is the biggest misconception that you would love to debunk, like once and for all, for women?
Right now, I want people to understand that there's a difference between exercise and moving. I think that people have to move more. Dancing is moving. Exercise is specific. Okay, I'm going to exercise the biceps, or I'm going to exercise the shoulder, or I'm exercise to overcome an injury in my elbow. Okay, movement is different, and exercise is good. Exercise is more targeted, but I think people need to also move. Movement is integrated. Exercise is more isolated, right? And so I'm trying to right now to make people understand that, because when you do Lagree, you're not just you're not just doing strength training. You're doing integrated strength, which is way better. The difference between strength training and integrated strength training comes from moving. Strength comes exercise. Integrated strength comes from moving, because there's a connection in your body. Okay. If you really want to isolate the muscle, this is what I kind of discovered since I'm kind of created my own method. If you really want to isolate a muscle, you have to literally cut that muscle off your body, and then you can stimulate it with some electricity, and that would be the only way to truly isolate. But the reality, your body is not like that way, because the body is infinitely strong. Okay, your body is always looking to do integrated movements. We have stopped doing that. Maybe 10,000 years ago, we were doing integrated movements. Today, people are sitting, they go to the gym, they do the cardio, they do the leg press, they do the shoulder press. They work those muscle parts independently of each other. They are fragmented. And then after a while, you start having pain in your neck, because probably you don't know how to work out really well. Then pain in your shoulders, and you think, oh, I'm 35, I'm 40, maybe I'm older. No, because you don't know how to fucking work out. Period. You're only working in isolation. You want integration. Okay, to all my bodybuilding friends over there, community, you should do integrated movements. Some of you doing it, some of you don't. You want to integrate the movements, because you want these movements, you want these muscles to play together. That's how the body is. The body is already integrated, but we are moving away from the integration. And another thing that we sit way too much. We sitting way too fucking much. Sitting, and I read 20 years ago or 30 years ago that sitting was the next cancer, and I completely agree with it. A sedentary lifestyle is absolutely bad for you. Movement helps you flush out of the toxicity in your body, helps you with the lymph node. It gets rid of all this toxicity. Exercise can build inflammation. Movement can heal inflammation. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So people have to move more. Go on a hike. Great. If you like cardio, go on a hike. Fantastic. Love hiking. Hiking is so good for you. It's free. It's one of the best thing. Dancing, moving is great. Dancing is fantastic. People should be dancing. Even if you have no rhythm, fucking dance. Doesn't matter. Just move that body. Body wants to freaking move. So that's what I would recommend. But integrated strength is probably a buzzword that you start to hear more and more and more in the future. And that's what you do in Lagree. When you do a leg exercise, for example, you are connected from head to toes, from fingers to toes. Every movement in Lagree is an integrated movement. That was the mistake that I made back in. This is something I realized probably in 2016, so maybe less than 10 years ago, that because of my background in bodybuilding, when I was adding exercise to the pro former, to the mega former, I was adding them from an isolation perspective. So from my early career, when I was doing the certification, I'm sorry, guys, I messed up, I was teaching the lunge improperly. I was teaching a lot of exercise improperly, because I still focus on that muscle that was responsible for the action. Today, when I do Lagree, it's completely different, and that's what allowed me to evolve the method. So all those people got certified in 2006, 2008, 2010, 2012, 14, 16, probably just before the pandemic. I would say might want to get recertified again because you got certified the wrong way. Sorry, guys. And like I said, this was, I got brainwashed by the bodybuilding protocol. If you say there's a lot of great thing about bodybuilding, but it's also bodybuilding is really about isolation because you want to build the biggest muscles, right? And what I realized for me is that what was lacking was the integration. And that's when now I'm adding. So all the movement that we do today are very different. When I create new movements on the machines, they're all integrated and they're absolutely beautiful. There's not one movement right now that I have on the Mega, on the Micro, on the Mini that is not a holistic movement. Every movement, you're going to agree on demand. We have 1,030 movements on the Mega. We have 1,000 on the Mini. We almost have 1,000 on the Micro. And the next few years we'll have 10,000 movements and 11,000 movements because once you start to understand about moving, you're like, oh my God, it's unlimited. It's incredible. So anyway, I can talk about this, Roxy, all day long. So you just have to just say, Sebastian, please shut the fuck up.
No, I'm cool. I love to hear it too because I'm so I'm so curious that I love to hear like the evolution of things and how things work and more health and wellness especially. But for the women at home that want to apply your methods but maybe don't have the equipment, they don't have any equipment at home. How can they do that? Like what is the best way for them to do that?
I have this product. I have this product that came out during the pandemic called the Spring with Shrouds. Uh, it looks something like this, and it's basically there's a spring inside.
Okay.
So you can actually snap it this under the door, around the furniture, or any fixtures, and you can work your whole body because it works with the springs. That would be the best thing. But I cannot really the all the movements that I create, they're all on the machines. I don't prescribe exercise without the equipment because for me the equipment really allows you to keep the proper control. It allows you to keep the proper body alignment. I love working on the machines. I get asked all the time, hey Sebastian, can you do Lagree on the floor? I'm just like, well, not really. You need the springs, you need the stability of the carriage. So if you cannot afford a Micro, that would be the best thing is to buy the spring with shrouds. We have some exercise on Lagree on demand. I am going to do like a whole section for more at-home exercises. I haven't had time to do this because right now I've had to catch up with all the exercise. And honestly, sometimes I'm just like, it's there's a lot to deal with,
Right.
But next year I will basically spend more time on Lagree on demand and then do at-home exercise for people who don't have access to the fancy machines, but they will still need to buy some accessories, And I love working on the springs because a dumbbell, if you're going to work with dumbbells, you want to use light dumbbells. Do not use heavy dumbbells. I think that for women at home who wants to get in great shapes, they don't need to have anything past 10 pounds.
Really? But everyone's saying lift heavy for especially women in midlife,
No, I do not lift heavy because heavy compromises form and range of motion. And once you compromise form and range of motion, you're fucking up your body. So do not fuck up your body. Okay, I fucked up my body doing a wrong kind of exercise for many years. And I'm very lucky that I've been able to just undo all these damages. And now my posture is better. I feel better. I mean, I'm no fat, but that's because I just, just love to fucking eat.
You're not fat. I just saw you on Sunday. You're not fat.
Thank you. I feel great. And now, even on my latest machines, we're starting to move away from the heavy springs. I decided to start to use a lot less heavy, and I prefer working with the lighter springs. Why? Because when you have the lighter tension, you can stay engaged in the movement longer. You can get that cardiovascular benefits, and you can get the control, and you can keep the joints properly aligned, and you can keep the shoulders in the socket, so you can keep the proper form. When you start to go too heavy, the first thing you're going to do is the form. Do not work out at a high intensity with improper form. You're going to fuck up your body. It's not worth it. So many people, especially in your 50s or your 60s or your 70s, right? And I know you have the best intention. You want to change your body. You're tired, blah, 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 okay? But there's a way to do it and work with lesser weight, stricter form, better range of motion, great body alignment, and I do it for a long time, okay? Time and attention works that way. The more time, less tension. The less time, more tension. but I don't like that. I prefer to go longer and slower than heavier and shorter, you know. So it's not to say that explosive movements and fast movements don't have the place in the fitness community. For athletes, absolutely. If you're going to be a boxer, if you're going to be a skier, an NFL, NHL, if you're an NBA, all this, absolutely, you need to work on speed. So this advice is not for athletes. The advice I'm giving for people are for people wanting to be in shape and people who understand that the right fitness program can actually bring decades to their life. And not just decades to the life, it's also decades to the brain because who wants to be 70 years old and you forget your name?
Yeah.
I look at my dad. My dad is 80. My dad is perfectly fine physically. But, my dad repeats himself like five, six fucking times. In 1 hour, it's like, oh, Sebastian, how are you? It's like that. Literally, this is the fifth time you tell me this. It's sad, right? So exercise can do that. The other things that I found out, Roxy, is this. If you go and agree on demand, you're going to see 1,000 different ways of doing the same exercise. Why? Because you have to challenge your brain. You have to challenge your brain in moving differently. So if you do a lunge one way, there's all kinds of different ways you can do that lunge. And I think people at home should pick the same exercise and figure out how many ways can I do this exercise. And every single time you have to think about a different way to move, your brain's benefit. There's there's a huge relationship between moving and brain health. And I cannot tell you, I'm not a scientist. I believe this. I know that some studies have done and proved that. More studies, I think, needs to be done on the relationship between movement and brain health and balance also as well. So if you can do any exercise, you have to balance, but you also have to do exercise a little differently. You do like a small variation to that main movement, and every day you force yourself to do this movement a little differently. You will this is amazing for your brain. I think this is more powerful for your brain than trying to learn a foreign language or do cross puzzle. I think that you force yourself to move differently. That has huge benefits for the brain. But that's what I think. And if anyone wants to chime in on this, in the comments when you put this, please, I'd like to know. I'm always helping. I'm always working with university and doing research because that I really believe that probably if you want to live a longer life, start and then you love to exercise, don't do the same fucking routine. Add on to that routine and every day force yourself to do a new movement, whatever it is. If you haven't Pilates, then do Pilates. If you haven't done yoga, do yoga. Or if you do yoga, do a different pause or try TRX. TRX is fucking amazing. TRX is like an unlimited amount of moves you can do on TRX. TRX is a phenomenal. That TRX is everybody should have a TRX at home. It's nothing, and you can do all kinds of stuff. And you're looking for different ways to move. Okay, the biceps only it's a flexion of the arms, right? You have the biceps. You can only stimulate the biceps two ways. You do an arm flexion or elbow lift, right? There's two ways. Yet, how many biceps exercises we have out there? Great. It could be 1,000 exercises. Then do 1,000 different ways to do biceps. Force your body to think differently and to adapt differently to this movement. And I think that will have a huge benefit to your brain functions.
What about for bone health? Because in perimenopause and menopause for women, the bones do get affected and people are afraid of bone loss. So what would you say about that with the Lagree method? Does it help with bone health?
Absolutely. So back in 2016, we have a lot of people say, "Hey, Sebastian, I want to know how many calories did I burn?" So what I did is hire a scientific team. They came and we did basically the met value, the metabolic equivalent, right? And then the met value was, I think it was like at 4.9, so something like that. So 4.6, 4.9. I think Pilates is at 1. I think CrossFit is at 7 or 8 or whatever. So we're kind of right in between Pilates and CrossFit. Um, but we also did a bone density mineral and a bone content evaluation, whatever this bone density mineral and the bone content, I can't remember. Uh, and for sure, every participant showed a positive gain, especially in the legs because we do a lot of leg. But absolutely, yeah, it's muscle building. So for me, in order to say that publicly, I have to do like a full-fledged study, which I haven't done, but all the participants show an improvement in the bone density. Absolutely, and that because Lagree is a resistance program. So a lot of people think you have to do weight bearing exercise, but if you moving the water, it's also weight bearing. You just don't feel the weight,
It's the resistance. Yeah.
it's resistant. Exactly. You can work with springs, you can work with bungee, you can work with toilet paper. Okay. It's all resistance. And then, of course, it's going to stimulate your body. So going longer, slower, harder will also stimulate bone density. Absolutely.
And what about for the women at home who feel stuck? Like they feel like, okay, I haven't worked out since maybe when the kids were young or before I even had kids. I've been working, I'm tired. There's like, every reason why they shouldn't. Like, what do you say to them that, to get them excited about taking care of themselves?
Well, baby steps, I mean, people look at working out as this huge mountain. What they don't understand is, it's like, when I go on a hike, I don't look at the top. I look the next step, one step at a time. Baby fucking step. Okay. So maybe you go around the block, and then you go for a 10, 15-minute walk. And then when the walk becomes regularly, then you start to add to that. But don't commit to like a 2-hour workout every day. It's just not going to work out. Baby step. Start to make the time. You don't have to commit to an hour every day, 15, 20 minutes. And as you start to feel better, then you start to progressively add more. And the baby steps approach is always what I've always recommended. The past 30 years I've been doing, any kind of media or whatever. I'm telling you, baby steps, when you want to get back into it. And then let your body tell you, when it's time to push the intensity. And then for those men who want to work out and they want to lose weight, again, you cannot out train a bad diet. You will have, I think that for a lot of people, make the changes at home first, what you eat, start to lose weight without exercise. I think that is always, I think, probably the best approach. Don't expect, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to start to go for a walk and I'm going to eat a salad. Now, how many people have done that? And we're still, look
Yeah.
at that. We're still in obese society. Okay. It just doesn't work. Okay. What works is what's practical. Okay. If you only have 3 hours a week where you have free time and you have all this stuff, then what you're going to do is you're going to start to try to get the most amount of result with the least amount of time. And you do that with eating better at home. That already, if you just can lose weight without working out, oh my God, you are ahead of the curve. Okay. Then the little bit of exercise that you do is going to start to help and add on. But otherwise, and then do not exercise without making changes to your diet, because otherwise you're going to keep the same fat and then you're going to add more muscle and you're going to even more fat. Okay. So there's definitely a relationship with food. And first, you got to master that, and you have to also understand that food can make you extremely depressed, So sometimes it's just a matter of just changing the mix of food, and all of a sudden you feel way better, because we feed the depression. So it could be salty food for some people. For me, sugar, I'm not depressed, guys, but I would say that definitely my sweet tooth is no bueno.
Do you have a sweet tooth?
Oh my God. I grew up in France. My grandparents had 3 restaurants in Bordeaux. My grandma Noel was an amazing cook. Amazing cook. She used to make all these pastries for me. God damn it!
Mm.
I love you, but it was it was amazing. Yeah, she made the les rouleaux. Les rouleaux is it's a very moist cake with some strawberry jam, and it's rolled up like this. Fantastic. Of course, she made like the best Napoleon, and then she cooked just everything. And of course, my mom is American. When she met my dad, she got introduced to my grandma. My grandma and my mom really liked each other, and then she showed her how to cook. So my mom started to cook all these heavy gastronomy, this French gastronomy, dish. So I grew up around a lot of food, a lot of heavy stuff, really appreciating, wonderful meals. And yeah,
Wow,
so
that does sound amazing. I mean, sometimes a little bit maybe here and there, just tiny bits.
uh, you know,
You
yeah,
you gotta have a little fun. What advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
to stop going for max every single time. 25 years old, I love lifting heavy weight. That's the one thing that I love. You know, the most I've done on the bench press, it was an assisted bench press with a Smith. We put like what, 700 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And when you feel that weight crushing on you, to me, I just love it. I've always loved feeling the moving heavy weight. But now I realize that, you can get way better results. You have to feel the way. Today I feel more focused more on gripping or more control. Now I'm working out a lot more the way I teach the classes, which is very different. So I focus more on the integration versus just getting that one muscle all swollen. And I just want to make sure that my spine is happy, that my joints are happy, and I just feel this tangling sensation throughout the entire body, and I get so much more out of it. So that's what I would do. Don't go for max. Don't try to just outdo yourself every single time. I understand that your body has ebbs and flow, and you want to respect this, right? And then not always be stuck the same thing. It's okay to step away from the gym for a few weeks or a couple of months, do this other kind of program. I used to think that, if I don't work out, I lose muscle right away. Now we know that it takes months and months and months and months for the body to start to waste, the muscle.
How are you living iconically right now?
Iconically,
Hmm.
it's an interesting question because I don't think about it that way. I'm just living my life, but I'm just really in a happy place. I'm happy because, this method that I created, now I realize why I never succeed in the acting world, and I would never want to. If someone approached me with a big job or whatever, I'd say no. I'm doing this now. I love this. I found my happy place because I get to create every day. I get to explore. I get to understand. I get to learn. I love to learn. I love to understand and learning. I just love that stuff. And this business allows me to do everything that it fits. It addresses every need that I want. So I think it's important for people to have a creative outlet. I think it's important for people to have all these different outlets, and I get them with this business. So that's why for me, I could never see myself selling this business or giving up to someone. This is something that will pass on to my son and my daughter, and they're gonna start working with me actually. Um, but I love it. I love all the people that I meet, all the relationship. Now I get to work with like other people in other industries. I get to work with the people at the top of the A games, and it's all of that is just it feels very blissful to me. You know what I mean? I won't change a thing, but yeah, I don't know. I hope that answered that questions.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're very fulfilled. You found your calling.
Yeah, there you go. I'm fulfilled. I mean, if I die tomorrow, I'm going to tell you just like I've had some amazing experiences. I already felt I've had several lives, under the belly. But I feel like the best has yet to come. I think this is why I'm like so excited about the future. Is that I feel like the best has yet to come. I see a lot of things that a lot of the goals that I set for myself back when in my 20s, and I've met all those goals. I've realized all the stuff. I've surpassed that, and now I'm getting myself new goals out there, and I already see them, happening and getting manifest. And it's just a uh, very positive direction that I'm on right now, and that feels amazing.
That's amazing. What is next for Lagree? Like, what are we going to see in the next year or two?
Oh my God. You'll see next year, you'll see like new machine like the Micro X, you'll see the Evo Pro. What I've been trying to do for the past 12 years is to add the electronics, because when I was telling you that the method is only the 40% completion, the 60% come from the electronics. There's no way for me that I can continue to evolve this method without electronics. So it's got to happen. So now we're computerizing the whole system. We're adding sensors. We want to calculate. We want to calculate your speed. We want to calculate your tension. I can calculate your time and attention. I can calculate your velocity. I can calculate your control. I can calculate the hesitation. Now I also want to bring the brain. So I want to know with a heartbeat. I'm talking to heart math. I want to integrate the heart brain coherence. That has to do more with that spirituality aspect of the workout. We're adding AI. So right now we're prototyping some machines with AI on it. AI is actually the perfect application for what I want to do, because the AI will actually work with each person. So there's going to be a formidable rate of evolution in the next 5 years. I think that the machines you see today compared to machines you're going to see in 2030 are going to be completely different. They're not going to. You're going to feel like there's going to be almost like a missing link between what you see today and what you're about to see. And I'm really excited because these machines will allow you to get so much more out of the training. People will finally be able to understand what is going on when they work out. They'll have the metrics, they'll have the data, they'll be able to analyze, the performance. I think that it's going to bring the whole community together. I think 5 years from now, you'll have a lot of people you'll have memes about the tempo, but these memes are not going to be just for the degree community, be worldwide. People will know instantly, worldwide about the tempo, about this and that. Degrees, this workout is about to explode, but come out of its shell in a major way. So the equipment that you're going to see is going to reflect that explosion, this mainstream aspect of it. But really, the what really excites me about the future of these machines is the connectivity to a server, and then you're going to be able to do all that stuff. Yeah. And I'm changing also the drivetrain. Right now we have the springs. I was telling you earlier that we're using more and more lighter springs, moving away from the heavy springs. But then in the future, we'll have also a hybrid system. We'll start having an electric motor. So I'm prototyping right now a new type of electric motor that I haven't seen anywhere in the fitness industry yet. It's going to work completely differently from all the conventional motors that you have out there. It's going to give you this very ultra smooth resistance, especially as you up the resistance. And I'm going to add new training techniques using that motor. So there's going to be a hybridization of the engine, if you want to call it this way. And you will be able to do a lot more with the same machine. So all of a sudden, you'll have different modes of training. So it's really cool. So, but it took me 12, 13 years of spending millions of dollars that literally seemed that it didn't go nowhere, but actually did. And now you're going to start to see all these machines, all these formidable machines coming out, and you're going to be like, people are going to be like, I think 5 years from now, people will go on Agree Fitness anticipating the newer machines just as much as they go on Apple and anticipate the new iPhone, the new iPad. It's going to become a cultural phenomenon.
Very cool. Well, it sounds very exciting. We're excited to go back to the studio as well and work out more. So please tell everybody where they can find you.
So very simple. On social media, you can find me at Sebastien.Lagree, and make sure you spell Sebastien IEN like you have it on the screen over here, or Lagree Fitness. And otherwise, you're on the internet, lagreefitness.com, or you can email us info@lagreefitness.com.
Fantastic. Well, I'm ready for my next ass kicking, so I'm sure I'll see you very soon.
You welcome, Roxy.
Sebastien, thank you for sharing your story and breaking down the power of the Lagree method. For anyone ready to feel stronger, leaner, and more empowered at any age, this is your invitation to explore a workout that has redefined fitness for so many people around the world. If you loved today's episode, make sure to follow the Iconic Midlife wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a rating and review, and share this episode with a friend who's ready to rebrand midlife on her own terms.